Hey, good morning. This is Rich from Tennessee Homestead. How the heck are you today? I don't know if you can see this or not, but if you look real close, it's hot out there, folks. Hot. If it wasn't for the humidity keeping you soaking wet and sweat, you'd burst into flames. Hot. Hot. A few of the plants, this is our what we call our house garden. I got done prepping it. Ignore the pole there. I just kind of moved it out of the way. Kind of just got done prepping it for the next planting. We usually go in early spring with cabbages and broccoli plants and all that sort of thing. And this year I'm kind of laughing. I'm calling it my experimental garden. Trying to see what techniques seem to work the best here. But we haven't had much rain down here. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to do some watering here. Looking at those few cucumber plants over there, they're not looking too good. Sweet peas are coming up and doing all right. We didn't put in a lot of cucumbers or sweet peas for a couple of reasons. These are just, what they call salad cucumbers. We're not putting up any pickles this year because, to be honest with you, we got enough pickles of about 4 or 5 different varieties to last us for about 3 years, so I think we can wait on that. We did have some early planting of zucchini in that little bare spot there. I'm not sure what I'm going to go back with there. I may throw some more sweet peas in there. I don't know. Anyway, and then we're going to be putting in some more plantings back over in here. So, I just turned it to get it ready, and we'll be back at it again. And then tomatoes and pepper plants and all that is doing pretty good over there. Anyway, that's kind of the status of the garden. I'm really just kind of experimenting this year with a lot of this. One, our food stocks are in pretty good shape, so we're not going to get real crazy with it, but boy, I'll tell you what, if I can get some water on those cucumbers, I'm going to lose them. So tonight I'll be doing a little, watering. Oh boy. Yeah, we went without rain. I mean, we had some rain down here yesterday. I was at work. Wife was down in Mississippi, and talked with a neighbor, and he laughed. He said, "Go kick the dirt in your garden." He said, "You're going to find out maybe the top 1/8 inches got water, is moist." He said, "The rest of it's going to be dry." He said, "We didn't get nothing." And up farther north where I was at, it just poured for hours. Anyway, so we're dry. So include a little rain in your prayers for us, because the last time I've seen it this dry down here was in 2012. And I gotta be honest with you folks, that was a pretty nasty drought we went through, and I'm hoping it's not going to try to repeat itself this round. Our pasture stayed green, but that was about it. Our neighbors really took some pretty heavy hits, and I'm hoping we don't go through that again. Anyway, it's time for our Monday morning barn chat, and we can go over here and look at some panning chickens. These birds are going, phew, turn on the air conditioning. There's a little heads up for you folks. When you start getting into really hot temperatures, I usually change out my birds' waters twice a day. On days like today, probably here in another couple of hours, even though that water there was full of cold water at sunup this morning, it's not going to stay cold long. So probably here in an hour or two, I'll bring them back out some fresh cold water to try to help them out a little bit, because they're on a dirt floor and stuff. That's about all I can do for them. They are kind of roosting in and laying in the dirt, as you can see by these birds over in here. They're trying to stay cool. So, but they're doing all right. I keep a check on them in this really hot temperatures. you do want to keep an eyeball on your birds. Make sure they're doing all right and not overly suffering from the heat. But these guys seem to be doing just fine. But it's warming. Yeah. Phew. And hopefully my tractor will be up and running here this week, and my big one, so I can get out and start cutting hay. And I'm past due right now, and I guess that'd probably be a good way to get rain to move in, is if I cut hay and get it on the ground. Normally that's a surefire way to get it to rain. But yeah, ooh, I'm telling you, you work up a sweat right now down here breathing. It's pretty rough. And I still have to do, as you can see it, I don't know if you can see it from back here, but I've got a fairly large patio on the back of our house, and then over the winter months you get a little green algae growing on the lower sections of the brick there from water splashing up on the bricks. And I kind of made the wife a promise that I'd try to get that cleaned up today. But man, I'll tell you what, I got about 3/4 of that thing swept down, and it was like, whew, I'm going to wait until the sun moves around a little bit and puts that whole patio in shade, because, man, I got to tell you what, you can only get so wet. It looked like somebody took a hose to me. Anyway, that's kind of what's going on down here. I've got came into the barn here to, wanted to say howdy to all you folks and have a quick barn chat. And I got another little video to make. I never really finished up that brooder to sale kind of video, and I want to get that finished up for you today. So that series is complete, and so I thought I'd try to knock those things out of the way. Although I probably won't get them uploaded, and probably won't get this uploaded till tomorrow morning, because I really, it is so oppressively hot down here that it's everything you can do to keep moving, and I'm gonna have to try to get some of these chores done, because they're saying it's gonna be hot and or humid all week long. So unseasonable weather we're having down here. So it's going to be a little rough, and I'm just hoping we're not running into another drought scenario. The creek out there has already went dry, which is something that usually doesn't happen till late July or first part of August, and that thing is gone totally dry. So not looking good. I just hope we're not having a repeat of 2012 here, but man, all the signs are pointing toward it. But, you know, Lord will look out for us, and we'll get through it. It's just one of those things you got to do. Anyway, back onto this little garden experiment here. We're trying a little cardboard and hay and mulch, and we're going to have an assortment of the different ways to try to keep weeds out of your garden on this little patch as we go back with it, and see how it goes. This is going to be the first time I've had to water it so far, and my neighbors have been watering like crazy. So, but I was looking at those cucumber plants, and man, I'll tell you what, those things are needing water. So this evening they're going to get a drink, soak that all back down again. But the cardboard seems to work well holding it in. I need to get more hay on it, and it does seem to be holding the weeds out fairly well. So, I mean, you're always going to have some pop up on you. But, man, when you can go down and clean out a row in 10 minutes, just reaching down and pulling out the weeds, you can't complain too much. Okay, this one here is for you, James. You always ask how I keep my barn so neat and clean. If you look around you, brother, this is what happens during the spring when you got more projects than time. This thing just looks like a small bomb went off. And my plan, my goal, matter of fact, like that shirt right there, I took that shirt off and hung that there a week ago. If that kid tells you anything. So, probably a home for every critter in southern Tennessee right now. But yeah, that's pretty much get about in the middle of the barn, you get a halfway decent breeze coming through here, and it's almost bearable. So I may get over here and get this cleaned out today. After I get that patio power washed, because let me tell you something. I learned a long time ago, you make a promise to your wife, you better fulfill on the thing or you're never going to hear the end of it. You may not hear about it for 10 years, but sooner or later, it's going to come back to haunt you. So, you want to make sure you deliver on those, because, boy, I'll tell you what, my wife's, she's as good as gold, but let me tell you something. I can almost hear it 5 years from now. We'll be in an argument over something, and she'll remind me of the day I didn't get that patio cleaned up like I told her I would. So anyway, what else has happened? Oh, yeah. You'll notice that I cleaned out the brooder box here, put in some new bedding and so forth, getting ready for this new hatching. Although I honestly don't know that I'm going to have to worry about it too much. One of the things that I did not take into account is extreme heat. And this room that I got the brooder set up in does not have air conditioning. Got a little fan, but that's about it. And it's not been enough to keep the temperature down inside the incubator. So temperature's been creeping up on the thing, getting high enough to where I doubt very seriously any of those eggs hatch. And if they do, it's going to be a small percentage. But I do have at least the brooder cleaned out, ready to go. Not worrying about hanging a heat lamp on it right now. But, because like today, you could throw newborn chicks in here and they'd be comfy as the dickens. So, it's that hot. And the problem is there'd be nowhere to run from the heat. So anyway, on that incubation, I don't know that I'm going to get anything out of that. I'm going to go ahead and candle eggs at 10 days to see if anything's viable at all. And if it's not, then, I'm just going to go ahead and shut it down, which is a shame. But I kind of thought that when I set that thing up that I ought to do it in a house where the incubator's in cooler temperatures, but I didn't. And now I'm kind of regretting that because the temperature out here in the barn is getting pretty high. And that incubator has been getting 4 and 5 degrees above normal, so probably all I'm going to end up with is a bunch of boiled eggs. Anyway, that's sad. I was really hoping to get me some more lavender chicks, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But anyway, Jim, yeah, as far as how do I keep my barn so clean, as you can see, sometimes I do not. And right now it's a pretty good sized mess. So, and with this breeze coming through here, I think I'm going to bring the dogs in here and get them fed and get them back going. And oh, yeah, that's something. The dogs, this morning, that was one of my first tasks of the day, is to go dispose of the carcass of a fox that apparently was over here either last night or early this morning, and decided it was going to have a chicken dinner. So it was working on burrowing into the coops. Well, needless to say, the dogs heard it, and that's for folks, if you got a good watchdog on your place, it doesn't have to be a huge dog. It doesn't have to be a big guardian, expensive big guardian dog. These little Australian shepherds, and especially this little terror. This girl scares my neighbors. She really does. She's vicious. Just cold-blooded. But I'll tell you what, I had a neighbor come over and try to pet her, and she stood right there by my side and just snarled like, if you put that hand down here, you're going to bring back a bloody nub. And she's just a baby, but a lot more ornery than her mama. Her mama's more friendly than what she is. She's not a very friendly puppy when it comes to strangers. It takes her a bit of time to warm up to them. But, yeah, she's not real happy because she's being wormed right now. Things that puppies must go through. But, yeah, she's not a little cuss. Anyway, her and her mama tangled with a fox last night, and they left me the tore-up carcass this morning. But I'd rather have a tore-up fox laying out here than a bunch of tore-up chickens. And so, you know, you put up the wire, you put in footings, you do all those things to make sure your chickens are safe and secure. But I got to be honest with you, a good dog, you know, if a predator tries to work its way through your defenses that you've installed, it's going to give them the time to discover it and to deal with it. And you know, a good dog will deal with it. If the dog doesn't deal with it, you need to get a new dog. I don't know what else to tell you. I found that most of the herding dogs, by nature, are pretty defensive of livestock. So if they're raised around it and so forth, then they get pretty defensive on the livestock. So good way to go. You know, because no barn, no chicken coop, no anything is going to be 100% predator proof. Predators will find a way. And you know, if you got some good dogs out there watching over your property at night, it makes it real tough for the predators because they can't do what they do, you know, on their own, undiscovered. So, and then of course I got another line of defense is my wife and her 45. I don't know how many possums she's killed around here. Girl's a crack shot, let me tell you. Funny story was she had I had been working down in an urban area that was about a 3-hour drive round trip, and so I had to go to bed pretty early in the morning, you know, at night, because I got up very early in the morning to take care of livestock and then head off to work. And I guess I was asleep. She came in and said we had a possum in the barn. And I never remembered the conversation till she reminded me of it. But I guess I told her to go shoot it in my sleep. I woke up to these gunshots going off. I hear this loud boom and jump up out of bed and grab my pistol and start heading for the door. I hear a second shot. Come out here to the barn, and you know, she's got the light on, and she said, I shot that possum. I said, wow, you kidding? I went in and looked, and here's this possum, sure as heck, laying there with 2 bullet holes in his head. And I looked at her and said, don't you think 145 round to its head was enough? And she smiled at me. She said it was still twitching. And walked off. I thought, okay, I'll have to try to keep that one in mind. Anyway, yeah, it was still twitching. So that deserved another 45 round to the noodle. The girl's got a unique way of looking at things. But, yeah, and she's shot one over at the summer coop that was ran up into a tree after it tried to get a hold of a hen over there. And yeah, pretty good shot she made. She was from across the ditch, and that thing was probably 10 foot up the tree, and I guess the total shot was probably 30, 35 foot at night with a 45, and she popped that dude with one shot. I was pretty impressed with her. But anyway, so yeah, you know, you have you set up your coops and so forth to try to make them as predator proof as possible. Understand that nothing is predator proof. I have seen animals that would burrow under a 2 foot, 3 foot deep footing to get up into a chicken coop. Now, they're going to spend a few days doing that. So if you keep a close barn watch and you're checking around your property, you can kind of head some of that sort of stuff off. But the fact of the matter is, they will do anything to get in there. Everything loves chicken. So having some good dogs on site to where it doesn't allow them the time to do that sort of stuff is a good idea. And like I said, don't need a big expensive guardian dog. Most of the the herding breeds will do just fine once they get used to your animals and so forth. Although herding dogs, you do have to watch around chickens, especially if they're young, because it starts off with curiosity, goes to, hey, that bird just ran from me, let me go chase it, to trying to herd the chickens, and their natural instinct in herding is to bite the animal to get it to do what the dog wants it to do. So you're going to do a little training there and make sure that they know the chickens are off limits. You don't chase them, you don't hurt them, you don't do anything to them. You leave them alone and you just keep an eye on them. So, and it can be done. I've even had been shown ways to train a dog that even eats chickens to decide that chicken is not the way to go. But anyway, all that being said, you really want to keep an eyeball on your birds in this kind of heat. These guys are digging down into the dirt and settling in. They try to take life slow and easy in this kind of heat. I've got a large shop fan that I'm using right now over in the garage doing some work. And I think when I get done over there, I may bring it over here and blow a little air into their coop here, because it is a little warm in there. Surprisingly, the main coop for our regular flock is pretty cool. Kind of shocked me. This one's a little warm. I think it gets a lot more sunlight from this doorway here and so forth, so it's a little warm over here. So please keep an eyeball on your chickens in this kind of weather. Man, maybe you live in those beautiful settings that don't have this kind of weather and you don't have to worry about it. But if you're in an area that gets good and hot and humid, keep a close check on your birds during the hot heat of the day. Make sure they have plenty of cold water. And, if nothing else, set a small fan up for them just to keep air blowing around on them. Anyway, that's about all we got going here. Like I said, I decided I wanted to really point this whole barn out to Jim so that he knows that, no, I don't always keep my barn nice and neat. I try to. I was always taught to clean up behind myself. But it's springtime, Jim, and, man, got more projects than I got time. And now this one's become a project. That's something to try to keep in mind. Every time I do this, I want to kick myself because if I'd have been putting this stuff away as I went, it wouldn't have took very long. But instead, I just kind of set it down here and I set it down there, and now I got to go through and dust everything off and put tools away, and it turns into a lot larger project. So, clean as you go, folks. It'll keep you from having a piled up mess like I got going on right now. Alrighty, that's all I got as far as my barn chat this morning. I hope this finds you doing well, and if I don't burst into flames here before this is all over said and done, I'm going to try to get that little segment on our chicken system finished up and hopefully wrap that series up. At window there, you'll see in the evening hours it becomes the favorite toy of these chickens. You'll see them getting up there, crowding in and looking out the windows. They love it up there. Okay, anyway, this is Rich from Tennessee Homestead. Hope this finds you having an absolutely terrific day. And try to stay cool out there if it's hot where you're at. Have a nice day.